Right now on Arkansas Crime Watch, a law enforcement face-off.
Let's go to jail. Come on, chain behind back.
No, you're not.
Hey, get back!
The encounter between a cop and deputy that ended in a bloody takedown. An all-out manhunt.
We are on the hunt for clues, and the clock is ticking.
A convicted murderer escapes for the second time. School bus assault. The parents of both victims react to the attack. Smash and dash as thieves use a stolen car to gain access to an ATM.
Through 75 counties and hundreds of investigations, from the most violent crimes to petty infractions. This is Arkansas Crime Watch with Kevin Kelly.
We begin with a heated encounter between a Pulaski County deputy and a Sherwood police officer. Good evening and thanks for watching Arkansas Crime Watch on Fox16.com. I'm Kevin Kelly. The face-off taking place back in June, but tonight Tyler Thomason has body cam video of the incident that resulted in the deputy being handcuffed, severely injured, and ultimately fired from his job.
Hey, how's it going, man? How you doing? Oh, pretty good.
June 13th, Sherwood police show up to a home about a noise complaint. They soon learn it's the home of Pulaski County Deputy Bobby Ward. Not much noise is heard, and the conversation is cordial at first until Ward becomes a little less cooperative. Ward's wife, who identifies herself as a Searcy police employee, tries to calm Ward down as things escalate.
Be sweet, baby.
I'm not trying to be an but these stupid live behind me.
We're not gonna use foul language, all right?
Baby.
In my yard, yes, I will, sir.
Ward then tells the officer to get his sergeant and implies an emergency or a code 3 is about to happen.
I want to tell your sergeant go code 3.
Okay.
Robert.
A few more curse words appear to be too much as the Sherwood officer moves in to make an arrest.
Yes.
All right, man, come on.
Robert, stop.
I already gave you the warning.
Sarah, what's those
Let's go to jail.
name behind
Come on,
us? That
chain
are the
behind back.
jerks?
No, you're
Hey,
not.
get back!
Wait,
I already told you once.
Stop. You've already
I'll tell you
put me
what.
with my cigarette. Now
Wait on your
stop.
sergeant.
I'm not going to ask you again.
I'm serious. Wait on your sergeant.
Robert, don't.
I'm not.
No!
Seconds later, Deputy Ward is shown on the ground with a black eye covered in blood.
You still kind of combative.
Combative?
If you want to go on the other side.
Sir, I would choke the out of you if I was combative.
Images detail Ward's ride in an ambulance. He was cited for public intox, disorderly conduct, and resisting arrest. A month later, documents show Ward, a 20-year law enforcement officer, was fired from the Pulaski County Sheriff's Office for conduct violations.
Joining me from the control room is Tyler Thomason. And Tyler, you actually got your hands on that report as well as the video. Is there anything else in that video, the body cam footage, that we didn't see that might have played into this case?
Not really. Most of what we showed you in this story was the bulk of the interaction between the officer and the deputy. One thing we didn't hear was when it first started out, the officer is asking the deputy questions like, what's your phone number, maybe something like your address. He was trying to complete an incident report, and the deputy that's when he started to become uncooperative, is when he starts saying, well, why do you need that? Why do you need that? Why do you have to do that? And the officer is telling him, well, this is what I'm instructed to do. So that's the moment where it really turns into a little bit of a confrontation, and then that is followed by when you start to hear him making claims that these officers are rookies and asking for their sergeant and things like that.
It seemed, based on what we've seen, that the turning point came when Ward said, a code 3 was about to go down. Is that accurate?
Yeah, and that was listed in the police report and also in Ward's interviews with some of his superiors and internal investigators. They basically asked him, do you understand the threat that you kind of levied there by saying code 3? And he understood that after the fact. And so yeah, when he says code 3, that essentially means there's going to be an emergency, something very possibly drastic is going to happen. So that's kind of when it just kind of excels this level of confrontation to a different level.
Ward actually saw the body cam video later on after the fact. What was his take on what he saw?
According to transcripts of his interviews with internal investigators, when he was asked about this, he he basically said that conduct is not him, implying that that's not something he could ever see himself doing. I think parts of it he does not even remember, whether that's related to any type of intoxication or from a diagnosed concussion. We're not sure, but we could kind of tell that A, he did not remember everything, and B, some parts of it he took responsibility of, and he said that what you saw there, what you heard, is not normally how I behave. 20 years on the force, he's now out of a job. Do we know what he's doing now? Don't know. That's unclear. We have not communicated with Ward directly. I've spoken to his wife and his attorney, who basically have said no comment. They did say, his attorney told me that this is going through trial. I don't know if this is in terms of his employment or in terms of the charges, but there is some court hearings that are coming up in the next couple weeks. All right, Tyler, thank you so much for joining us on Arkansas Crime Watch. We appreciate it. You bet. After an intense manhunt on the ground and in the air, an accused murderer missing for more than a day is now back behind bars. Early Monday morning, guards discovered this man, Calvin Adams, was a no-show for a routine head count. That immediately sparked an all-out search. Officials unsure if he escaped or if he was hiding. They eventually found him Tuesday morning on the roof of the East Arkansas Regional Unit in Bricky's. Authorities telling us he was hiding inside a vent.
There is a spot where you can go up on the roof using metal stairs. It is enclosed by an interior fence that has some razor wire on top of it. But there is a place up there that we discovered that has been pushed kind of to the side, and he may have been able to get up that way. So you can bet that that will change.
Adams has since been transported to the Varner Supermax prison. Officials tell us this is the second time he broke out. In 2009, he wore a guard's uniform to escape the Cummins unit. He was found days later in New York.
We, the jury, find unanimously that the defendant did not cause the death of Botham Jean while under the immediate influence of sudden passion arising from an adequate cause, and assess the defendant's punishment at 10 years imprisonment.
Amber Geiger, the former Dallas police officer who was found guilty of murdering Harding University graduate Botham Jean, sentenced to 10 years behind bars. Her sentence set off angry chants outside the courtroom, but as Jay Gray reports, it also resulted in an amazing display of compassion and forgiveness inside the courtroom.
Again, I love you as a person, and I don't wish anything bad on you. I don't know if this is possible, but can I give her a hug, please?
It is perhaps the most unlikely of embraces. The brother of Botham Jean reaching out to the woman convicted in his murder. An emotional end to what has been a tense, very difficult trial. The judge stepping down, reaching out to Jean's family and Geiger just minutes after her sentencing.
And assess the defendant's punishment at 10 years imprisonment in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice.
The sentence comes after a full day of difficult, emotional testimony.
I'll never see him again. And I want to see him. I still want to see him.
Botham Jean's family and friends mourning the loss of a young man they describe as deeply religious, joyful, and giving.
Yes, ma'am.
Geiger's friends, including fellow officers, say she was outgoing, bubbly, and a protector. But since the deadly shooting, she's been sullen, filled with immense remorse.
She just wanted to say sorry to his family.
She is now a convicted murderer, eligible for parole in 5 years.
That was Jay Gray reporting. Botham Jean's mother also speaking out. She talked about Geiger's future behind bars and how the Dallas Police Department has, quote, a lot of laundry to do in terms of better training its officers.
Yesterday, we saw the conviction of Amber Geiger, and today we heard the sentence of 10 years in prison. That 10 years in prison is 10 years for her reflection and for her to change her life. But there is much more to be done.
Yes.
by the city of Dallas.
Activists, meanwhile, were shocked by the sentence and began chanting "No justice, no peace" outside of the courtroom. Geiger's 10-year sentence begins immediately. She's eligible for parole in 5 years. Caught on camera. Thieves using a stolen car to gain access to a local Walgreens in the dead of night. Take a look for yourself. You can't miss it. Surveillance video shows a vehicle smashing through the storefront of a Walgreens in Scotts Valley, California. The suspects spring into action, snagging the ATM and then loading it into another car out of frame. The crime lasting less than a minute. Also caught on camera, a fight on a BB school bus between two students, all over a video game. Haley Brooks speaking to the parents of those involved and one of the students.
You can see two students sitting by each other. One backed into the corner with their arms being held. Then you can see kicking and punching.
As my child's being hit in the head repeatedly, and you can hear the knocking sounds of her head being beat against the wall, and the music just goes up.
The police report says it started with an accusation of tripping before escalating to one student trying to pry a video game out of the other student's hand and ending with punches being thrown.
And then there's a knot in my head right here, but it's still like bruised but not bumpy.
Avery was taken to the hospital, and according to Victoria, she had a mark on her nose, 2 knots on her head, and the discharge paperwork from the hospital says her final diagnosis is a head injury. Avery says several students took videos of the incident.
I'd rather have somebody step in and pull her off, but everybody was too scared.
I opened the video, I immediately started crying, and just like my heart sank into my stomach. I felt like I wanted to throw up. And just seeing your child being attacked like that, that's something that no parent should ever have to witness.
Jayla's mother, Brooke, broke into tears talking about the fight.
Because she's not raised that way.
She says Jayla has been suspended before, but that hasn't stopped the violence.
She's been pretty bad, and that just took it to the extremes.
Brooke says Jayla is suspended from school until October 14th and suspended from riding the bus indefinitely.
Jayla's mother, by the way, doesn't think the suspension is enough. She's looking into putting her daughter into juvenile detention in hopes of scaring her straight. In the meantime, she's grounded. As for Avery and Victoria, they're starting the affidavit process to go to juvenile court. Police in Hot Springs are trying to identify people who supposedly took the tip jar from an ice cream shop. Here's a look at who authorities are calling people of interest in the case. The tip jar was taken Sunday from Mamu's Ice Creamery on Central Avenue. If you recognize the people in these photos, be sure to call Hot Springs Police. In tonight's crime segment, the owner of the Pine Bluff Mall arrested and booked into jail. A Jefferson County Sheriff's report originally said this woman, Judy Vu, desecrated a flag. Turns out that was a mistake. The real charge? Criminal contempt. The charge stems from a 2016 lawsuit against the Pines Mall, which Vu lost. It was filed by a woman who slipped on leaking water and hurt her knee. A judge awarded the woman $50,000 in damages, but 3 years later, Vu has yet to pay up. So Jefferson County authorities arrested her Tuesday night at the mall.
This has been dragging on for years now, and we're hopeful that this will help speed up the process to get some kind of resolution and finally get our client paid the money that she's owed.
To get out of jail, Vu has the option to pay the $50,000 in damages, or she could also go back to court. If she chooses not to pay, the mall could be forced into foreclosure and be put up for sale. Cyclists still furious 1 week after the Big Dam Bridge 100 bike race. The reason? Tacks, and lots of them. Found on the road, causing tires to go flat, bikers to lose control, and in some instances even getting hurt. As Hillary Hunt reports, law enforcement is now investigating.
Just looked up and there's people all out in the street. You're like, well, you know, what's going on?
New tires.
There was probably, I'm going to say in a half-a-mile stretch, I saw 20 to 30 people on the side of the road with flat tires.
It's something bike shop owner Matt Seelinger says quite a few people are in need of after Saturday's Big Dam 100 bike race.
Everybody's hollering, we have tacks on the road, you know.
Photos posted to Facebook by riders as proof. Quickly switched gears to an investigation by the Pulaski County Sheriff's Office.
We are asking people who live in the area of County Farm Road, Highway 300, Highway 10, check their home security cameras. If they notice anything suspicious between Friday night, early Saturday morning, share that footage with us.
Almost 20 reports of bike damage have been noted on the race route. Participants like Matt disappointed someone would purposely try to injure the cyclist community.
It's unfortunate. The day we live in, people feel like that they can do things to try to deter you from being on the road as a cyclist.
He hopes people will hit the brakes on the pranks and realize the seriousness of the situation.
There's a lot of bad things that can happen, especially if you're going fast.
The Sheriff's Department is asking anyone who lives along County Farm Road to review their security camera footage, as you heard, to see if they captured anything. But they're also encouraging anyone who may have been a victim of the tax to file a report with authorities. In tonight's Crime Tracker, a Fort Smith man behind bars after pleading guilty to a bank robbery in Alma. Jaime Reynoso Salguero of Springdale pleaded guilty, I should say, to 1 count of bank robbery and 1 count of use of a firearm during a crime of violence. Officials say the robbery happened at an Arvis bank on May 29th. According to reports, the man walked in with a firearm, demanded money from the teller before leaving. The report says he did fire 1 round over the teller's hand. That person was not hurt. Authorities say shots were fired by officers at Salguero during a chase before he was taken into custody. A Mayflower man also behind bars this evening after police say he threatened 2 members of the Arkansas congressional delegation. Officials say 43-year-old James Powell threatened Congressman Rick Crawford and sent similar messages to U.S. Senator Tom Cotton. Powell is now being held at the Faulkner County Jail on a charge of terroristic threatening. His bond has been set at $2 million, according to Mayflower police. The FBI in Little Rock assisted in the arrest. Tonight's Mug of the Week goes to this man who seems a bit surprised about his arrest. Frederick Laverne Jones was booked into the Pulaski County Jail for violating a protection order. And as we leave you, here's a look at Arkansas's most wanted. We do want to remind you, all of the suspects you've seen tonight are innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Remember, if you have any information on any of these cases we talked about tonight, you're asked to call your local police departments. Thanks for watching Arkansas Crime Watch. I'm Kevin Kelly. Be smart, be safe, and if you see something, say something. I'll see you tomorrow night on Fox 16 News at 5:30 and 9.